If the primary reason you're getting on a plane or driving to another city is to take a course that improves your skills, that directly relates to your business, yes, that can qualify as a business expense. But that does not automatically mean the entire trip is 100% deductible. And this is where I see small business owners getting themselves into trouble, because in their mind, they're thinking, well, it's for my business. I'm investing in my education. Of course it's deductible. And they're not wrong, but they're also not looking at it through the same lens that the CRA is. So in today's video, we're going to walk through what is actually considered a legitimate write-off when it comes to education and travel, using the CRA as my source so that you can understand what you can deduct on your business income taxes and why. But before we get into that, if we've never met before, my name is Janet Mercredi, and I help Canadian small business owners make sense of their numbers so that they can make better decisions about their time, their pay, and their profit. And on this channel, we talk about all that money stuff that most small business owners were never taught. Okay, so this is one of those areas where understanding the rules before you book the flight does matter. Because you see, the CRA doesn't look at your excitement about the course the same way you do, right? They're looking at structure. They're looking at intent. And most importantly, they're looking at purpose. And the key question they're asking is, was this expense incurred for the purpose of earning business income, right? So if the primary reason for the trip is business, meaning the course or conference is why you're traveling, then yes, obviously that course fee itself is generally going to qualify. The travel to get there can also qualify, and so can the hotel, right? But this is where we need to slow it down a little bit. And I'm going to give you a real world example, because I've done this myself. I'm a business owner. I've traveled to conferences that are outside of my city or my province or even outside the country. So let's say the conference is 2 days long. The registration fee, that's business, zero question. But when I decided to stay in that same city for an extra 2 days, and honestly, why wouldn't you, right? If you're already there, if you can afford the time, and it's somewhere you've never been before, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying I would probably stay, and I have. So what I am saying is you just got to make sure to separate the business from the personal, right? To do some sightseeing, right? So the conference is 2 days long and you're there for 4. We're going to use that example. Then part of that trip is business and part of it is personal. So we're just going to walk through the math in a really, really simple way. I'm traveling for a 2-day conference. I stay in the same city for 4 days, right? 2 business days, 2 personal days. I'm going to break that out into each day is 25%, right? So that means 50% for business, 50% for personal, 4 days total. Again, the registration course fee is 100%, but the hotel and the airfare is where I would allocate differently based on the 2 days business, 2 days personal, right? 50% personal, 50% conference. Because the reason is that plane ticket, it got me there for both personal and business time. So I split it, not because someone is forcing me to, not because I'm afraid of the CRA, but because it reflects reality. And I want to be sure that if somebody were reviewing my accounts, that I want it to be obvious that I thought about it, right? Because again, the CRA is looking for intent. They're looking for reasonableness, and they're looking for the purpose behind the trip. Because you see, it's not always about squeezing every possible dollar into a deduction. It's just not. It's also about being able to stand behind your claim calmly. So once you start thinking that way, once you start thinking in terms of reasonableness and purpose, you're going to notice that there are other areas of the trip that follow the same logic, right? As an example, meals, right? In Canada, our meals are generally only 50% deductible, even when they're traveling for business. That's just how the rule works. So even if the entire trip is business related, okay, you're still not claiming 100% of every meal. So you do have to look at it with the same mindset. Separate what is fully business and what is partially business and what isn't business at all. And again, this has nothing to do with fear. This is everything to do with protecting yourself and your business. Because if someone ever reviews your file, you can clearly show the registration course, the travel dates, the receipts, and that the primary purpose of the trip was business. So if the answer is yes, you're in a much stronger position. And coming at this as I do, because I live in the cash flow world more than I do the taxes world, I'm going to say that just because something is deductible doesn't mean it's financially wise, right? A tax write-off does not make something 100% free. If you're going to spend $4,000 to save $1,000 in tax, you're still spending $4,000. So when you're booking that trip, I don't just want you thinking, can I write this off? I want you thinking, is this going to improve my profitability? Okay. Because we always want to make decisions that match the stage of business that we're in. So if you're early in your business and cash might be tight, maybe those extra 2 days isn't the priority. But on the flip side, if you're profitable and you've planned for it, then by all means, enjoy it. Just account for it properly. So educational travel can absolutely be legitimate, but it's not automatic. It's not always 100%. And this is not about pushing the limits. It always comes down to purpose, reasonableness, and documentation. So if you understand those 3 things before you book the flight, you're already ahead. And you should not have to worry if the CRA is going to renounce on your expense. So this topic, as a side note, was inspired by a viewer who reached out to me with this exact question. And instead of answering her privately, I decided to make a video about it. So if there's a topic you've been unsure about, I'd love to hear it in the comments below, because I can guarantee you, if one person is wondering about it, somebody else is too. And with that, that's what I have for you today. Again, my name is Janet Mercredi. If you like what you're hearing, I encourage you to like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch you in the next video.